A guten Erev Shabbos Rabbi Sai. Live from Morocco, from the banyan tree. Omar Mar. We're holding up Tezayin Omid Aleph. You guys have it? Tezayin Omid Aleph. Omar Mar. Hashoiche b'muchni shchitos ksheros. You have very interesting sugyas as usual. Chullin's mamash turning out to be fascinating. If somebody shechs with a wheel, with a machine. So here's a picture. Here's b'muchni. So there's a wheel, but the wheel itself is not what's doing the cutting. There's a knife on the bottom of the wheel. It's a little sideways, but okay, you get the idea. And you put the animals this way, and it shechts. By you pushing some lever, which turns the knife, which cuts the animal. Says the Gemara, it's a good shchita, even though it's on a wheel, it's like a machine. Muchni is like a mechona, like a machine. But it says somewhere else that we even mentioned it, the shchita is possible. So if you use a machine, it's possible. It would be great. Imagine you put a knife on a machine, and all the shchita has to do is move animals past the machine, cut. He doesn't have to do anything with that. Like Kashi. There's a machine they used to use to make earthenware. Today, I know that they have these machines that spin the earthenware, and with your hand, you mold it in certain ways. Maybe that's what it is. I have no idea. But they used to use a machine, and that is considered koyach adam. It's the power of the person, the human being, pushing a pedal with his foot, with his hand. It's human power. Like a bicycle. A bicycle would be human power. You go like this, and you're powering it with your legs. But when you have what is this called in English? A wheel that turns from the water. A water wheel, okay? What a chap. A water wheel, it gets all its power from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Human, zero intervention at all. And that turns and it spins a knife. That's no good. Now, there is one situation where a water wheel would be okay. Water mill, but that's the mill. This is not a mill. This is for shchita. What is the case where a water wheel works and it's okay? When you open up the water and the initial gush of water starts the wheel to spin. That is considered human power. Why? Because with your human power, you opened up the water and the water came and pushed it. 5 seconds later, however many seconds it is, 2, 5, it's no longer human power. That is already from the water. A great example would be if you're on a plane, you're in a restaurant somewhere and there's no water thing. You have to wash your hands. So what do? You want to wash Negelwasser in the morning, you woke up on a plane. You're on a United flight and you want to wash. What do? So a good answer would be is to push the water and stick your hand in immediately. Or stick your hand, push the button. Take your hand out, you have to wait for it to stop, and then you do it again. There's only like 25 pushes like that on a plane, and then the water runs out, so you gotta be careful. And now the Gemara tells us the other answer. That even with the water wheel, there's a way that it's mutter to shecht with, and there's a way it's aser. Because the initial burst of water is considered your force. Your force, good shchita. But once you, whatever that koyach sheni is, 2 seconds later, 5 seconds later, the turning a complete rotation of the wheel, then it's already, or whatever it is, I'm not sure what the halach is, something, it's already not your koyach, it's already water that's going to continue going. Imagine I opened up the dam, and now it's my koyach for 45 years. No way. It lasts only for a few seconds, and that's it. Then the rest is Hashem pushing the water through. Says the Gemara, a great story. If somebody ties up his friend, and he puts on him some sort of stream of water, and he dies, he drowns, chayav. My timer. Why is he chayiv? Yirdidayu danibay. These are, it's like shooting an arrow at somebody. So over here, he shot a bunch of water at him until he died. The Hanami says the Gemara, if he died from the initial force, but once it's the second force, whatever that means, then he's potter. Says the Gemara Maisa. You know, in yeshiva, it's much like this. Let's say Rebbe's sitting where I'm sitting, a Talmud is sitting right in front, and then this is the second row. Rav, imagine this, Rav, who's the Gadol Hadar, but he started out somewhere. He learned by Rebbe. Rebbe was the one who wrote the Mishnayos, and Rav is the first Amayra. Rebbe was the last Tana. Rav is the first Amayra, slightly a Tana. They call him, he's a Tana Upali. We could consider him a Tana because where's the cutoff line exactly? So he's right there. Even Rebbe Yochanan, who was his contemporary, is not considered a Tana. So, but at a certain point, he sat behind Rebbe Chia. He was in row 2. He wasn't up front. When I learned in Pesach, I learned in Pesach for 2 years. So in order to sit in row 1, the Chashuvim sat there. You know, the guys that were in Yeshiva for a long time, and the guys that understood the Shir, row 1. I was in row 7. You know what I mean? Like for 2 years. The other Rebbe Chia, Rebbe Chia Kamei the Rebbe, and Rebbe Chia sits in front of the Rebbe. The other Rebbe Kalmar. And Rebbe says, how do you know shchita must be done with something detached from the ground? It can't be attached to the ground. Avram Avinu takes the knife to shecht Yitzchak. So the Rambam says there's a whole thing here. How do you prove from here? This is before Matan Torah. Okay, I call upon him. There's no tzivui for shchita. He went and he took something that's detached. Why else would the Torah tell us that he took the knife? So Rav was sitting in row 2, taps his, Reb Chia, row 1, says, my Kamar, what is he talking about? What is Rebbe talking about? So listen, it's kind of a chutz, it seems like chutzpah almost. I'm very proud of Yoshi. I told him I don't like what another artist did, because the other artist, and it goes according to one of the pshatim, they say, he did it with the grain. And I felt it should be against the grain. I like that pshat better. So this is more like it, against the grain. You're writing a vav against the grain, so you have a ton of cuts in the vav. It's split up. So in like 23 seconds, he sends me back the new version, and it's all fixed. Great. So basically, he's saying, Rebbe Chia tells Rav, you're right. It's a good thing you tap me on the shoulder, because I agree with you 100%. I don't think Rebbe knows what he's talking about. That's basically what they're saying. Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Talmidim, mistake. Okay? So he says, he brings a raya from Avram Avinu. He's not saying shtusim. He says, Rebbe Chia is telling Rav that this pasuk, you can't bring a raya from the pasuk. The Torah is just telling us what Avram Avinu, how he had zrizus. What does zrizus mean? Because Baruch said, go shacht. He didn't want to have any issues with knives and looking for a knife. I'm going to get there. I'm going to have it. I'm going to do it. Omer Rava. Pshita li tolish v'lesoif chibroi linyan avodah zara have it tolish. So first, Rava starts out talking about avodah zara, and then he brings it back to our sugya when it comes to shchita. Now what? How do we view something that used to be detached and you made it something attached? For instance, a brick. You build a home. Everything in this hotel right here behind us, all these beams, were once upon a time detached. They weren't attached. They're detached, unless they got them from the ground or something. But these are all man-made materials, probably like cement or whatever. Detached. So when you take something detached and you attach it, and now it becomes a mechuber, does it have a halacha of detached or attached? Which one is it? So there's a halacha in avodah zara that tells us that if it's attached, it cannot become it's mutar b'hana. So in other words, if I worship a mountain, if he worships a mountain for avodah zara, he cannot make the mountain aser. You can make an animal aser because it's detached. You can make a glass into avodah zara, but he cannot make a mountain. Why? Because the mountain is mechuber. What about a house? What about a house? Could you make a house avodah zarah? And the answer is yes. And why? How could you explain it? The only way to explain it is because it used to be detached and it's attached now. But just the fact that it's attached now doesn't make it attached. So therefore he says, so if you bow to your own house, asara, you make your house asar. But if you tell me that your house is considered mechubar, that what? That there's a musig that their gods are on the mountains, but not the mountains are the gods. The mountain can't be a god. The mountain can't be avodah zarah. Just the avodah zarah on the mountain. There's a pasuk that tells us famous. We had this in avodah zarah lot. That a mountain that's mechuber cannot be an avodah zarah. You can't aser it. And memela, we have to understand why a house is aser. And the answer is because a house started out not mechuber, and you made it mechuber. And memela, there's a difference. In order for any food item to become tameh, it has to be mukhshel kabel tuma. It has to have a situation where you put one of the 7 liquids on it. Water, let's call it blood, water, dew. If you want to use the water for any other purpose, stam, you want to use the water, and then that water touches your fruit, it's also machshel kabel tuma. You don't need to want the water to go in your fruit. You need to want the water, let's say, to wash out your pot, and then the water goes. Now, right? Even if whatever that usage was, even if it wasn't for food, it's considered kiyutam. But it has to be something that's not mechubel karka. Let's say I want water to wash my roof. I have too much dust on my roof, on my skylight, so I want the water to wash it down, and then the water goes and hits my fruit. It's not mechubel karka. Why? Because that water was for mechuber. Now that we know this, we go weiter. It says this nan. Oh, linyan hechsher zeraim tanai. So now we have a machlokes tanai when it comes to mushal kavatum. This not. If somebody flips over a bowl on a wall, why did he flip it over? So that the vessel should be rinsed out. That water is good enough to go on the fruit and make the mushal kavatum because I wanted the water to wash out my dish, and my dish is not mechubel karka. So what if I flip over the pot so that my wall that I just painted shouldn't get wet? Because that's for the wall and not for something that's talish. It's for mechuber, which is a wall. Wall's mechuber. As the Gemara gufa kasha. So says the Gemara. So what's the kasha? If you do it to wash out the dish, that's considered good water to be machshel kabel tuma. So you can infer. But if you did it to wash the wall, so washing the wall is not good water. The opposite. You can be the opposite. If you flipped over the dish to protect the wall, then it's not good water. Then I can infer, I can make a deal. But if I want to wash the wall, so then I'm inferring 2 opposites. So what do? So one option is Amar Belazar Tavra. You're right, it's a broken thing. It goes according, it's a machlokes. And this is exactly what Rava referred to before. They have a machlokes when it comes to yichiyutan. One madam holds that by mechuber, you want the water from mechuber, it is considered good water for machshel kavatum, and one holds not. No, this is one Tana. You hear this? The wall of a kaisel of a ma'ara, meaning it was you dug out a cave, but there was a cave. The wall was there from Sheshish to Bereshis, so that's mamish mechuber. It's mechuber mikara. But you have a wall that you built, like a hotel wall. That's a hotel that's man-made. So even though it's mechuber to the karka, it's not considered mechuber. And this is what I meant to say. If you flip over a bowl on a wall because you want to rinse out your kli, then it's considered good water for mushal kabel tuma. But if you want the wall to get clean, that's not considered good water. Because of Mara, because of Binyan, and it goes on to explain, Kilu, we're going to explain the difference is if it's a pre-existing wall from time of Sheshim Mebereshis, then it's considered Mechubal Karka, there's war because of Binyan. But if it's a regular wall from a home, B'shil Shlo Yilka, Hakaisel, that you're doing it that the wall shouldn't get wet. Sorry, if you don't want the wall to get ruined, it's not considered good water. But if you want that the wall should get rained on and cleaned, then it is considered chiyutan. Now, how does this whole thing have to do with shchita? So by Rava, what if you have a knife and you attach it to a wall? Is it considered mechuber or not mechuber? So what's the question? The question is, if you take a knife, you take something and you plant it into a wall, what's the halacha l'gabi shchita? Is it considered mechuber and it's no good? Or is it mechuber talish? It's considered talish and it is good. It's a good shchita. Tashma hayitzor yotzim ha'kaisel. There's a stone coming out of a wall. That's a good one, right? Because everybody could tell that this wall. Now I saw a wall similar to this here. I guess in the yards of the rooms has this kind of stuff. But everybody could tell this is man-made, right? So it says in Gemara, oh, so we have a problem here. Even though this wall is not considered mechuber, you just told me it's man-made. So why is it a problem? Why is the shchita puzzle? So you see from here that what? That even though you attached the stone to you're the one that attached it. So it was not mechuber, it was talish. Then mechuber, it's puzzle. So here's a great raya that if you take a knife and you put it in a wall, it's puzzle. No, it's talking about something like this. This is from Sheshis Mebereshis. It's not man-made, and therefore that's why it's puzzle. I'll prove it to you. The Tani do me the kana oilam elav shmamina, because they're both in the same sentence. It says kana and it says the mara. So they're both. A kana is a reed. Obviously, it came from Hashem and it's stuck in the ground, so it's mechuber mikar shmamina. So even the piece sticking out is mechuber mikar. Yeah. This piece doesn't look so good in this picture, but yes, it's a piece. This looks like somebody put it there, but no. The point is, it's a cave, and that's how it was. Tashma, not sakim mekaisel. Here's another one that says that you take a knife, you put it in a wall. B'shachaba. I think he might even made a picture for it. I don't know why. Yeah. Like this. You take a knife, you shech the goat like that. It's good for the next sugya. So what do you see? That even though it was talish and then you made a mechuber, it's kosher. Says Gemara, Shani Sakin Deloy Mevatel. Shani Sakin Deloy Mevatel. A knife is different. Why? Because what? Right, you're not mevatel the knife to the wall. You're gonna one day come and take it out. Toshma. B'mechuber lekarka shchita zikshera. Now this, as you remember from yesterday, we had a contradiction. So we said, well, the fact that it says mechuber lekarka, it's a good shchita. It's referring to that it was talish and then mechuber. So here's a great case of talish and then mechuber that the shchita is kosher. Says Gemara, maybe the pshat over there. He's just explaining. My mechuber lekarka sakin deloy mevatelo. Maybe we can't bring a raya because it's just a pshat of what's going on over there. What does mechuber lekarka mean? It means a knife, and that we already established a knife is not something that you move out to the wall because you're going to pull it out. Okay. Now, Stam, as I think about it for a second, if I were to ask you what's a worse shchita, if the knife is over here, here's the knife, putting the animal on top of the knife and cutting like this, or putting the animal below the knife and cutting like this. This is the knife. The question is, and this is the animal, what's worse of a shechita? Putting the animal's neck like this, or putting the animal's neck like this? Amar, not sakim makoisel. If you put a knife in the wall, it's a good shechita. If you did this is the only way it's kosher. That's crazy. So what is he doing? He's moving the neck back and forth to do. How do you do shchita? He must move the neck back and forth. But if he does this, over here is a concern. Maybe he'll push down on the knife and do drisa. Says Gemara v'katani ben shesaken lamato v'tzavar beim lamalo ben shesaken lamalo v'tzavar beim lamato. We learned there's no difference that we learned yesterday. Omer azvid. Let's dalim katani. It's two different halachas. That what? Saken lamato v'tzavar beim lamalo b'talosh. If the knife is on the bottom and the animal's neck is on top, and the knife is in his hand. Great. But if the knife is on top and the animal's neck is on the bottom, so even if it's mechuber, even it's no. These are all kosher, but the only way it's kosher when the knife is below the neck, in other words, he's coming down, is only if it's in his hand. He's holding up the cow's head and he's coming from below. Okay. So that's the only time that it's okay when he's holding the knife in his hand. But if the knife is stationary, in other words, in a wall, then it would be a problem. But if it's the reverse, if the knife is on top, then it doesn't matter if the knife is in the wall, then it's also okay. Also okay. What?
5 minutes.
Good. The kalul. We have another one. Here we go. Over here, we don't have a problem of drisa. Why? You hear Yossi? There's no problem of drisa here. Because a bird, it's so light that you're not going to use the power of the what do you call it? Oh, things are going to get weird in a second. There are 5 things that if you have a broken piece of reed, so the best picture I could come up with, actually we have a better one, but this, again, not to mention that I don't know how many times I mentioned sugar cane and ginger and lemon, but if I took from this picture, you look, all the way on the right side, so there's a broken piece of sugar cane. That's very, very bad for a few things. What? For 5 things. Ain't shaykhim, but you can't do shechita with it. Why? Because it has a bunch of splinters. It's going to tear the animal. Do not do meal with it. Oy vey. It's a lot of splinters here. He did a one. Yoshi did something like this. Okay, it's splintery. You don't never know. Do not use it as a knife and to cut your steak. And do not use it as a toothpick. And don't use it as toilet paper. It says before you should use a reed. Because we're talking about reeds that don't have splinters, a special type of reed, but a reed that has splinters, you're not allowed to use for shechita. You do not use it for cutting meat. He said you can use it for the innards of fish, the zigi. Now I want to show you Rashi I saw today. Look at Rashi. Zigi. What does Rashi say? Anybody can read? Clear. And that's zigi. Zigi means clear. Zigi. Why? It's transparent. So if it's transparent, you can see right through it. You can see if it has a splinter or not. And Rabbi Ravuna would cut chicken, schnitzel. Why? Because it's soft, so it's not going to splinter into the chicken. And you do not use it as toilet paper. Says the Gemara, if you use toilet paper that could catch fire, shinov noishros, you could have, what is it called, hemorrhoids, whatever. So in other words, it's more of a Kabbalistic thing, I believe. Why? How do I know that? Because it would be a big problem. No. What I was telling you is, if you have, let's say, a scar from a monkey, do not go like this with a reed that has splinters, because it could go into your wound. It says in the Mishnah, Hakol Sheichtim, Lo'elam Sheichtim, Bakol Sheichtim. Says the Gemara, Hakol Sheichtim, Hakol B'Shchita, Vafilu Oiv. You do Shchita even for a bird. Lo'elam Sheichtim, what does that mean? Montana. Who's the gold coin? Omer Rishmoli. This goes according to Rishmoli. Sanyi Ki Yachem Hashem Lekechas Gvulcha Kashedi Bilach Namat Oich LeBasar. Rishmoli Omer Loi Ba Kosav Alad Lem Basar Taiva. So in Eretz Yisrael, like Baruch Hu said, they're allowed to eat meat. Stop, have a steak. Why? Shebatchilo Nesalem Basar Taiva. So imagine if you couldn't eat any steak, garnished. So believe that it's unbelievable. In the beginning, it was awesome for them to eat meat. But once they came to Israel, hutalam b'sar taiva. Then Shmuel said, okay, go ahead and eat meat. But once they go to Galus, I would have a havamina that you're not allowed to eat any meat anymore. Why? Because you went to Galus. That's why the Mishnah says, Loilam shechatim. If the point is that they're allowed to eat it, so that should be the point, not that you could shech. The point is that you're allowed to eat meat. What's the whole? Let's think about it logically. Why was meat also? Once, when they're very close to the Mishkan, so just bring a carbon, and every time you want to eat meat, you bring a carbon, and you can eat the steak. Well, so why did the meat become mutter? Like right now we're in Gullus, we're in Chutzlars, we don't have a Mishkan. So the only way to eat it is to do basar taiva. But certainly now that we're far away, very far, we don't have Beis Hamikdash at all. So Mela, it should be mutter. Boysai, the spa is open until what time? Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.